The Sacred Dialogue, a homily on the nature and power of prayer. Introduction. Prayer is often described as the breath of the soul. Just as the physical body requires a constant intake of oxygen to sustain its biological functions, the human spirit requires the rhythmic practice of prayer to maintain its vitality and connection to the divine. It is the most fundamental expression of the religious life abridged, spanning the infinite chasm between the Creator and the creature. In this sacred dialogue, we do not merely inform God of our needs, for He knows them before we ask. Rather, we open ourselves to be transformed by His presence, the essence of prayer as communion. At its most formal level, prayer is an act of communion. It is not a transactional performance or a magical formula intended to bend the divine will to human desire. Instead, true prayer is the alignment of the human will with the divine purpose. When we enter into a state of prayer, we are moving beyond the noise of the world and into the inner chamber of the heart. This communion is characterized by two distinct movements, speaking and listening. While much of our contemporary understanding of prayer focuses on petition, the act of asking, the historical tradition of the faith, emphasizes the importance of silence. In the stillness, we move from speaking to God to abiding in God. This receptive silence is where the deepest spiritual formation occurs, as it strips away our pretenses and allows the divine light to illuminate our true selves. The fourfold pattern of prayer. To guide the soul in this discipline, the classical tradition offers a structured approach often summarized by the acronym ACTS: adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication. 1. Adoration. We begin by acknowledging the sheer majesty of God. This shifts our focus away from our own problems and places them in the context of God's sovereignty. 2. Confession. In the light of God's holiness, we recognize our own shortcomings. This is not an exercise in shame, but a necessary honest accounting that clears the path for reconciliation. 3. Thanksgiving. We cultivate a heart of gratitude, recognizing that every breath and every blessing is a gift. Gratitude is the antidote to the bitterness and entitlement that often plague the human condition. 4. Supplication. Finally, we bring our requests and the needs of others before the throne of grace. This intercession binds us to our fellow human beings as we carry their burdens in our hearts before God. The struggle and the discipline. We must be honest in acknowledging that prayer is often a struggle. There are seasons of spiritual dryness, where the heavens seem like brass and our words feel hollow. This is why prayer must be treated as a discipline rather than a fleeting emotion. We do not pray only when we feel inspired. We pray because it is the duty and the delight of the soul. The great saints taught that persistence in prayer during times of desolation is perhaps more pleasing to God than prayer offered in times of consolation. It is in the persistence that our faith is tempered and our reliance on God rather than our feelings is solidified. The transformation of the petitioner. The ultimate power of prayer lies not in changing God's mind, but in changing the one who prays. As we consistently bring our fears, joys, and failures to the divine, our perspectives begin to shift. We begin to see the world not through the lens of scarcity or anxiety, but through the lens of providence and eternal hope. Prayer softens the heart, making it more compassionate toward others and more resilient in the face of suffering. Conclusion. Prayer is the greatest privilege afforded to humanity. It is the invitation to step out of the temporal and into the eternal, to speak to the King of Kings with the intimacy of a child speaking to a parent. As we commit ourselves anew to this sacred practice, let us remember that the goal of prayer is not to get something from God, but to get God Himself. May our lives become a continuous prayer, a living sacrifice of praise that resonates with the harmony of heaven.